Today we're doing a functions question for Pure Maths 1, and the first step is to read the question. We've got two functions, fx equals x squared minus 4x plus 3 for x is greater than c, where c is a constant, and we have g of x is equal to 1 all over x plus 1 for x is greater than minus 1. And the first thing I have to do is express f of x in the form of bracket x minus a all squared plus b. So I'm completing the square, so I would simply write x minus, and I'm going to halve that 4, so it's going to be 2. I'm going to square that, I'm going to subtract the square of minus 2, which is 4, and then I've got the plus 3 at the end. Simplify, and that should be minus 1. Part 2, it is given that f is a 1-to-1 function. State the smallest possible value of c, the smallest possible value. So if we go to sketch the function, you would see that there is a minimum point, and it has coordinates at 2, minus 1. And for it to be 1-to-1, and we want the smallest possible value is at the minimum point, and that would mean that everything on this side we can use. So I would say the smallest possible value, therefore, is minus 1 is the smallest possible value. Okay, so let's move on to part 3. It's now given that c is equal to 5. We can pull all of this up, I guess. It's now given that c is equal to 5. So we've moved across to somewhere over here, say. Write an expression for the inverse. So my first step is to write y equals bracket x minus 2 all squared minus 1. Please note that you want to use this form here. Don't use that form there because that will make it more difficult. Okay, use the completed square form and it's easier to rearrange. So y, my second line will therefore be y plus 1 is equal to x minus 2 all squared. And then my next term will be plus or minus square root y plus 1 is equal to x minus 2. My next line will be x equals 2 plus or minus the square root of y plus 1. And then I do my swap of my variables. Y equals 2 plus or minus square root y plus 1. Now, at this point I have to decide whether I'm going to have a plus or a minus. And the way I decide that is, well, I know that the c is equal to 5. So for c is greater than 5, so I'm looking at this side here, which means I must be dealing with a plus. So the final step is to write it in function form. So I want to write it like this. Equals 2 plus square root y plus 1. Alright, now let's have a look at the final part of the question, and I'll move that up here. Get this out of the way. Okay, final step. Find an expression for g f of x and state the range. Okay, so this is a composite function, and we're going to start off with f of x and put it into g. So I'm going to go g, and I'm going to put into that this, x minus 2 all squared minus 1. Once again, please notice that I've used the completed square form rather than the form that they gave me at the beginning, because this will make life easier for me. Okay, now I'm going to put that into g. Now g is 1 over x plus 1. So this whole thing becomes the x in g. So I'm going to have 1, then I'm going to have that over x minus 2 all squared minus 1, and then I've got that plus 1 there. Okay, now if I simplify that, it'll be 1 over x minus 2, and that'll be all squared. Okay, now at this point, I need to, well, I could probably leave it at that point, really. I'm kind of happy with how that looks. And now I just have to state the range of this. To determine the range, you need to look at this here. We have to put in x is greater than 5, according to this. So if we put in an x is equal to 5 into here, that leads us to get gf of x is equal to 1 over 5 minus 2, which is 3. 3 squared is 9, so 1/9. That is the greatest possible value of the function. It has to be less than, or now would we say equal to? No, than 1/9. Okay? Why do I know that's the greatest it can be? Well, whatever other values we put in here, they're going to be higher values, right? So, for instance, if we put in x is equal to 6, then we would get gf of x is equal to 1/16. And I hope you see that, if we put in x equals, say, 10 or maybe 12, then gf of x would therefore be 1 over 100. So I think you can see that as x gets bigger and bigger, the value of f of x approaches 0. So you know that your range is going to be from 0, greater than 0, but approaching 0, to up to 1/9, and that would be the range part of this question. Well, that's all I've got for you today. I hope that makes sense. If you do have questions, of course, ask me in class and I'll be able to help out. All right, take care, guys.